Hello, everyone who's joined so far. We're just going to give it to the top of the hour and then we'll get started. One more minute here and we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks, everyone, for joining. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our March Detection and Intelligence Highlights webinar. In today's session, we're going to be exploring the latest innovations from the VMRay Labs team, highlighting new detection capabilities designed to uncover stealthy malware behaviors and advanced evasion tactics. We'll also demonstrate how integrating VMRay with Microsoft Defender for Office empowers SOC teams to more efficiently triage and investigate user-reported phishing, turning complex threats into actionable insights. So we're glad everyone could join us today, and we're excited to jump into this. But just quickly before we jump into today's technical content, if we can jump to the next slide. I want to take a moment to introduce something new we're launching here at VMRay. This is the Threat Hunting and Detection Engineering User Group. This is an exclusive invite-only peer community designed specifically for VMRay customers. The goal is to bring together SOC analysts, detection engineers, and threat hunters to openly share practical, real-world approaches to improving detection capabilities and maturing SOC operations. The focus here is very much practitioner driven. So we'll be discussing things like detection engineering strategies, behavioral detections, improving investigation efficiency, and even how teams are starting to apply AI and LLMs in their workflows, along with lessons learned along the way. Just as important is what this group is not. This isn't a product update session, a support channel, or threat intel sharing forum. It's really about peer discussion and learning from each other's experiences. In terms of format, these are going to be quarterly sessions starting in April with moderated discussions and occasional guest experts. And to encourage open conversation, we'll follow Chatham House rules. So no recording, no sharing of sensitive details outside of the group. This is a private session. VMRay's role is to facilitate and guide the discussion, not to lead it. The value really comes from the community itself. So if you're a VMRay customer and this sounds interesting, please feel free to reach out to your VMRay representative or myself or Serge after the webinar, and we'll be happy to get you set up. All right, with that, I will turn it over to Serge himself, and we'll move into today's session. Thanks for joining, everyone.
Okay, hello, everybody. And maybe just to add to the user group, it was requested by our customers. So we just take this idea and push it forward. But now we are going to switch to the topic of the day, which is basically the new detection we have. So as you probably know, VMRay updates its detection every week. Every month, we basically create a blog about it, and the blog is followed by webinar. So now we are going to show what we introduced in February. Or actually, I'm just going to show a few things that were introduced in February. You can find more from the blog. So first, we'll start by the threat identifier. So what we love to do at VMRay is basically to try to detect new behavior of malware, very often new behavior made to evade detection, and turn that against the attacker and use that to basically recognize very malicious behavior. So this first case, it's about DLL injection. So as you know, malware often try to inject process in different ways. So in that case, it's using basically a DLL that it load into some legitimate code. And when it's loaded, the attacker can run the malicious code, and it's pretty hard to spot for normal defense activity because everything seems to come from a trusted program. So now we have a new VTIs that detects that, and specifically that can detect the DLL injection type of process injection. Next thing is again a technique to try to avoid detection. So we have detected some malware that started to abuse a legitimate Windows component called the sync app publishing server that's normally just keep virtualized applications synchronized. But basically special attacker linked to ClickFix campaign started to use that to actually launch PowerShell. So now we monitor that and we check that when this application launch a PowerShell is pretty suspicious. So we have a new VTI that will flag those behavior. Another one, which is quite simple but effective. So malware actors always try to know if they run in a sandbox so that they can terminate the operation or crash, whatever. In that case, they use WMI, which is Windows Management Instrumentation that provide a lot of information about the system. And they query it to know how long this system has been running. So a lot of sandbox, they will just start a virtual machine to analyze the malware so the malware can see that it has been running for a very short time. So in that case, we again monitor this behavior because it's pretty abnormal for any normal application to check that. So that's a strong sign of malicious behavior. Just a new detection for sandbox. And as usual, we always add many YARA rules to detect new malware, new stealer, new backdoor, So here is a list of what we did in February. You can see the rare hit stealer. I will show you an example in the demo a bit after. Other things where we have expanded a lot since last year is a config extractor. In February, what we added is config extractor for all the Telegram phishing kit, because a lot of phishing kits use Telegram. And once you can extract the exact channel using Telegram, that will help you to know where your data is sent and to also to do some attribution. Second one we added is Santa Stealer. That's a new stealer that appeared in December, since the name. It's probably a new version of what was called Blue Line before. So now we also have an extraction of configuration for this one. And phishing is a big topic. A lot of our customers use us to detect different phishing attempts. So we keep adding new YARA rule to basically better detect new type of captcha, new phishing kit. Phishing redirection also is quite important, and there was some report that about 20% of phishing campaigns use phishing redirection. Also, there have been some reports that phishing campaigns use more and more suspicious iCalendar attachment. And typically they're annoying because even if you detect them, they kind of stay in the calendar. So you need to remove them manually from the calendar. Then auto UI. So the auto UI is actually a very important functionality we have that allows us to click on file, click on link, click on captcha, so that we can impersonate a human. So in that case, we improve our auto UI to better behave with new ClickFix variant. So ClickFix is quite known now. It pretends there is a problem to fix and asks you to run some window commands that will execute some program in the background and typically infect your computer in some way. So now we have seen more and more, instead of just proving you are human, fake Windows update, fake error message, fake crash, and you need to resolve it by running a command yourself. So we have basically updated the auto UI to handle those ClickFix or spam attempts and click on the buttons that are exposed in those cases. So people now use a button instead of asking to copy the command. So that was a brief overview of what we added in February. So we have also some new things in March, of course, already added to the system. But now I will go to the demo. And what I want to show you is how we integrate with Defender for Office and how that can help basically with all alerts from Defender for Office. But I think the case of user-reported phishing is pretty interesting. So I decided to focus on that. So the reason why user-reported phishing is pretty interesting is because phishing kits are evolving quickly. I think there is very good report from Flare, which is a company we partner with, that monitors the dark web, Telegram, and so on. And they made a study by monitoring discussion in hacker forum, in dark web, in Telegram, and that give a very good idea of how the phishing kit economy is working. And you can see pretty powerful actor developing advanced technique like reverse proxy, like MFA bypass, and also making it easier for their customer to use. So now it's not anymore that you need to deploy the phishing kit in your server. As a hacker, you can also just use phishing as a service where all the infrastructure is already in place for you. So the barrier of entry is pretty low. And when you read this report, it just shows that we are not out of the phishing problem. I mean, those guys evolve quickly. And when they evolve quickly, it means they constantly find new trick to bypass defense. And when a phishing attack bypass the defense, there is a good chance that you will find it in your user-reported phishing folder. And I tried to find how much malicious email are in the user reporting folder, and I didn't find very many data points. One I found was from Roxanne, who is doing phishing training, and they say that they found 12 to 35%, which sounds quite a lot, but I don't know. Maybe they do very good training. But anyways, you should think that the user reported phishing are actually an opportunity for you as a defender to capture pretty dangerous attack and turn them against the attacker by blocking them early. And a lot of the attack you will find, they will have attachment or URL. And when they have attachment, very often what happens is that the attachment is not directly the malware, but contain deceptive link that lead to further payload. And later, they will download the malware or harvest your credential and so on. And I highlight that because to detect those attacks and understand them, you need basically a dynamic analysis, which is, of course, VMRay specialty. So we are very good at analyzing file, at analyzing URL, and at letting the attack run to see what the hacker really want to do. So that was my introduction for the demo. And now I will switch to the demo. So in those demo, what I always did was basically to send an email containing a malicious file or URL to a mailbox protected by Defender for Office. And sometimes it's going through, sometimes it's blocked outright. I want to highlight one thing. Even if it goes through, and if there is a malicious email containing a URL, for example, it is not meaning necessarily that Defender failed to block the attack, because Defender has many layers of security. They may block the URL click when you click on the malicious link with Defender for Office. So that creates an alert that we can monitor as well. They can also, if the URL is not non-malicious, block the download of a malicious file with Defender for Endpoint. And in that case, again, we can monitor this alert with VMRay integration, and we can capture the URL and maybe the malware behind it. So just to say that the fact that the mail bypass the first layer of security is not necessarily a proof that Defender has failed. But it's a risk, of course, and it's always good when you can capture it automatically and analyze this mail like I'm demoing here. So this first example, basically, it was something reported by user. You don't have that many information. From Defender, it's a low severity. And when you scroll down in the alert, you can see that VMRay added some information. So we basically found a file, which is net support. So it's pretty malicious, and it's a sample of another file. So this file was not directly sent in the email. It was actually downloaded from a URL. And here you can see the URL it was downloaded from. So basically, we spotted it from reputation, and we spotted a past jacking attempt as well. So now here, what we try to put is enough information for a SOC analyst to quickly know what to do with it. There is a serious threat behind it. It's clearly malicious. We have a long list of reasons why we think it's malicious. So SOC analysts know immediately how to proceed and what is the level of threat they're facing. If they want to know more, they can go directly to VMRay side, and I will show you what is this attack from VMRay side. So that should be the same attack. So I will start with the overview, and I will start with the relation. So here what you see is, a malicious URL downloaded a batch file. So when you go to the malicious URL, what you will find is actually it was a clipboard content. So you got a past checking attempt. So you can open it and you can check the detail here. So basically, there was a batch command copied to the clipboard by the website. So you can see here basically how it looks. In fact, there was first you got a CAPTCHA that we clicked on automatically. After the CAPTCHA, you had the typical ClickFix attack, clicking on window and running a command and so on. And out of that, we could capture the command that was run. So as we capture the command and reanalyze it, we launch a recursive analysis. So there is a second analysis started to analyze this batch file. And what we find here is a net support, which of course is a valid remote management software, but is quite often abused by malware actor. So in this case, we could see clearly it was abused. So you can see it set up network connection, it attempted to connect, reputation. We detected a malicious URL by reputation. And what you can see here by YARA rule, we detected net support, but it's probably unwanted application. Because it's an RMM, we don't put the YARA rule it's clearly malicious because it can be a valid case, but of course not when it's part of a ClickFix attack. So here, if we would check, for example, where it was detected exactly, you can go here and we can go to one of the analyses to see the detail. And here you can see that we detected from a multiple drop file process image. So we don't only check the original batch file, we detect what is dropped and so on after it. Now there are two things interesting here. So first, that's a file actually that I tested this morning, so it's pretty recent. And then I checked this batch file and decided to see how it was on VirusTotal. And when I went to VirusTotal, actually, it was not uploaded there, so there was nothing. It was unknown. So then I uploaded it to VirusTotal this morning, and then you can see that it's pretty evasive. So it has only one detection, so well done to ASET here. So that's typically what happens if there's a new campaign targeting you. It's people have created something pretty evasive. But what is interesting, what we do here as well. So here you see the file, and of course that file is listed as part of our IOC, but now I will copy it. And I will go basically back to Defender to show you that we actually send back this information. Yeah, I already tested that. So if I copy in the indicator of Defender and search it, you will see that basically automatically, as we analyze the URLs, we downloaded the file, we also extracted the IOC and we send them back to Defender. And this file is pushed by VMRay. It's automatically in block mode, so that's completely something you can configure. You know from which alert it was in Defender. You know from which URL it was generated. You know what is a sample in VMRay, so you can check the analysis in VMRay. And you can see that was something sent today. So that is important because if this batch file hits you through another attack, it's already blocked in your system, while it was not yet known basically in tool like VirusTotal. And of course, it is the same for all the different IOC. So the URL we detected and so on are also in the indicator list and also block automatically. So now I will move to another example, which is basically instead of sending a URL in the email, I send a file. And this file was actually a PDF. So it was a PDF I created. I picked up a malicious URL from URL house, and then I created a QR code. I put it in the PDF, and I send that to as an attachment. So here you can see it's a low priority alert in Defender. Not many detections. So when we receive it, we extracted the URL, which is a child of another analysis, which is malicious. He downloaded an executable, and the executable downloaded was actually info stealer called VDAR, which is pretty non-malicious. So let me show how it looked like in the portal. So here in VMRay, you can see the relation between the different things. So a PDF sent, inside it, actually there was a QR code from which we extracted a URL from which was downloaded malicious URL. And just one thing to stress, Defender can also extract URL from QR code. In that case, I believe it missed it because it was a very new URL that I was using, so it was not yet known as malicious. So here actually you can see that it's only malicious because it downloaded a malicious sample, not because it was already known as malicious. And now if we have a bit more look at what is this sample. So you can see we have a lot of information about it. So we do data collection, we extracted the configuration of the sample, we detected it through YARA rule and so on and so on. And it has also different injection technique. So we could open one of the analysis to check a bit more detail. So first you could check the extracted configuration. It's always interesting. So VDAR is known to use the Steam community. So if you are employee, don't need Steam, you may block it outright. It's a pretty dangerous info stealer. You can see how we detected VDAR by YARA rule. So we detected the VDAR version 14 and also the VDAR cryptors. That's something we added actually in February. And then you can see that as often those malware use injection techniques, so writing memory over the process, modifying control flow, and so on. So a lot of things for evasion. So you can see the process tree, and you can see that typically quite a few defense invasion, a lot of discovery, quite typical from info stealer. And of course, just to add, we do those analyses in about 2 minutes. So that was the time of the analysis. So we can get pretty amazing amount of information in 2 minutes. So now we have also a lot of information like pickup, memory dump, and very detailed behavior. And again, here, if I go to the IOC, you can pick the URL it's using. And if you copy this URL, you can check that we properly send it again to Defender so that it will be blocked automatically. So you can find it here. And again, you can see that it has been blocked by VMRay automatically. So it didn't need any user intervention to already do something. Okay. So now I will move to another example. And in this example, we detected a malware we had it actually in February. So you can see when you scroll down here again, how no threat found here. But we detected actually a Rahid stealer, Umbra stealer, XM ring. So XM ring is quite well known to try to steal crypto. And actually just a reminder that the first goal of phishing campaign is actually to steal crypto because that's a faster route to monetization. So the second most popular goal would be to steal a window credential. And here I will show you this malware. It has some interesting behavior. So here you can see that's Frahit stealer, Umbra stealer, X-ring, XM ring, all packaged together. I don't know exactly why. We extracted the Umbra stealer configuration. And here you have something quite interesting as a behavior. It's this malware actually changed DNS resolution for VirusTotal, Avast. So a lot of security product automatically blocked by the malware by just modifying DNS configuration. So just an interesting behavior, which we also detected quite recently. Of course, it also modify Windows Defender configuration, another attempt, it had an exclusion of its own file to Defender, and it tried to disable script scanning, real-time monitoring, and so on. So pretty interesting behavior. So I don't want to spend too much time here. I mean, the IOC are again sent to Defender as before. And now I will show you last example. So typically what people send in a phishing attempt will not be directly a malware like Rahid, like I did. It will be a PDF, most common, as I show with the QR code, or it will be some other Office file. So now in that case, what was sent was just an Excel file. So Excel file, yeah, no threat found. And then we find a URL that was embedded within the Excel file. And then we find a child sample that was actually Remco. So another pretty famous malware. And again, here we try to put all the information in Defender console so the analyst don't need to always check. But of course, if he finds something dangerous, he has access to VMRay, and then he can see a little bit more what this malware was doing. So here you can see that was the Excel file that was inside the email that we extracted. From there to the URL in the Excel file. And of course, the interesting behavior is a Remco sample, which is here. So here you can see again, configuration extracted. So let's open an analysis to see what it is. And of course, that's important to have the configuration because if you know that somebody target you with Remco, you may go in incident response mode, and you may want to know exactly what was this malware. And the fact that during the attack, we could capture the malware, and we could capture the configuration and capture the next step of the attack is quite important because you have all this information within VMRay waiting for the instant responder to just check it rather than trying to start by getting the file. So here you can see quite a lot of information extracted from Remco. So some encryption key, some path, some gold eagle name, I don't know, maybe campaign name. You can see the process tree, of course. So you can see the MDO attack technique. You can see again, we took all that information in 2 minutes at our default. So that's another example how much information we can get. Here you can see, of course, I didn't show you before, but you have pickup stream. You have a lot of information also about what this malware has been doing, where it has been connecting. So connecting to some malicious, site to get some pictures. So maybe some stenography attack. I don't know. And as useful, you can check behavior. And we go in very much detail, so you can check process by process what is happening. So you can see that process 5 is probably doing something malicious, and you can always go and see the detail about what were the function string, file access, and so on and so on. So pretty extensive level of detail is available. Yeah, and last point, I got this malware just before the demo in the afternoon. I was testing some sample, and then I decided to check it on VirusTotal. So that's already, this Remco sample is already quite well known in VirusTotal. It has 16 out of 61. So it's quite clearly malicious from VirusTotal. but of course not fully detected yet. Okay, so that's what I wanted to present you. Basically, in conclusion, what I want to say is that it's pretty important to have good detection. It's pretty important to detect very invasive malware because those are the ones used against you in typically in new type of attack. You should expect that your URL are not already known, as you can typically see when you take URL from a, from fish tank or something. Very often they are known by reputation. If malware actor attack you, they may have very fresh URL that may not be detected outright. So it's very important to be able to follow the chain of the attack and see what is the malware actor really up, really trying to do. And this way you know what is a threat against you. So you know much more than a single alert telling you that something went through, was blocked. You know what the malware actor is trying to do, and you can preemptively block it, and you can proactively react and do some threat hunting and so on. So thanks for listening. And I don't know if there have been any questions. I think we have a bit of time to discuss if there are any questions.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining today. We hope you got a lot out of today's webinar. We will hang out here for another minute or so in case there's any questions. But as always, we will send the recording out following this webinar. So if you want to rewatch it, feel free to. And if any questions pop up after that, any questions relating to the MDO VMRay integration, or any questions around the VMRay Threat Hunting and Detection Engineering user group, you can go ahead and reply directly to that email, and we will also take your questions there. So we'll hang out here for another minute. But if there's no further questions, feel free to jump off. And thank you, everyone, for joining.
And of course, highlighting that MDO was just an example. I mean, we have also very good integration with other solutions like KnowBe4 and so on. So in all case, going deeper in the analysis of user-reported phishing emails is quite valuable because you can automatically get a lot of information that will help you to move quickly with your analysis.
So it looks like we have a couple questions, Serge. So the first one is it possible, similar to Windows Defender, to also send information about malicious software or URLs to other antivirus providers from VMRay?
So of course, the integration we build is only about sending it to VMRay for analysis. Of course, you can use a similar integration to send it somewhere else. So yes, it is of course possible. What we do with MDO, we extract the URL from all the alert, but we extract the attachment only from the user-reported phishing. And the reason is because if you have a malicious email detected, the attachment will be blocked outright by Defender, and we don't have access to it. But if it's a user-reported phishing, the attachments are available. So yes, it is possible, but of course you may need to get more the URL for a typical antivirus. So what we do is, of course, is we detonate the URL, we click on it, and then we see what is downloaded from the URL. A typical AV will not give you the same thing. It will try to very quickly block attacks, while we spend a few minutes to really understand what is the attack about.
Great, thank you. Second question, is there documentation for VMRay MDO integration steps?
Yes. So what we have on GitHub, we have a full description of the integration and explanation how to deploy. So you can deploy on your Azure, typically by clicking a button and deploying the function app, and then configuring one form, putting your VMRay API key and the Defender credentials so that you can connect on both sides. So yes, and if you want to integrate, you can also take a trial license if you don't have one, if you don't have a license already. And I'm happy to help if you have any question further. So.
Great. Next one. I missed most of the meeting. Can I be sent the PowerPoint or links on this? Yes. After this, we will follow up with the recording and the links to all the slides. We will follow up with that. Our next question. Will you showcase how integrations with XOR are leveraged by other SOC partners?
We also have integration with XOR, but will we showcase it? I guess the question is in the further webinar, or what was so we I'm not sure if I got the question properly. So XOR is actually our most popular integration because it's just such a broadly used product.
Okay. And then next is also, are there any future updates on what other capabilities are being worked on at this time that would likely hear more about in the coming months, specifically around AI and how AI agents can be caught using VMRay analysis? Basically, would we cover this in future webinars?
We always develop the capability, and it's always based on what our lab detects, which is new. So I think AI agent is a pretty hot topic. So yeah, I think that's something where our lab is looking at, but I don't know exactly when we'll cover it. So of course for our customer, we also present our roadmap, but the detections themselves they are not like planned very long in advance. So another things we are doing, of course, is also planning to use AI to click and better analyze the different malware and phishing page. And we already use it in different ways. Okay, is that all the question, Tucker?
Sorry, just a few more questions here. Just
Okay.
apologize, I won't mute there. Are you planning to add entropy info for each file that was detected?
Um, Not that I know of, but because we detect the file dynamically, so entropy is typically used when you just do the static analysis. But that's something I could ask from our lab, actually. So I know that many people use entropy.
Great. And my next one is VMRay is integrated to Defender via API or IR mailbox.
It's via API. So
Great.
yeah, it's we monitor the alert via API, and we each time there's an alert, then we try to see if there's a URL within the alert or a file that we can get, like for user-reported phishing or user-reported spam.
And then looks like the last question I'm seeing here is Entra ID integration also possible for user containment measures?
Um, Yeah, it could be possible, but typically what we have found is that from the containment part, people don't want it to be directly made from VMRay. It will be rather some other logic, some playbook in a source that will manage the containment. So yes, once we provide the information, you can have a playbook doing the containment, but I don't think it will be the role of VMRay directly to start to do containment.
Got it. Another one that has just popped up here, just to make sure I'm understanding correctly. Azure grabs the links and attachments to forward to VMRay, so no other data would actually touch the VMRay platform since Azure is the middle person.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, so the Azure connector that we have is the one that grabs the URL or the file from Defender and send it to VMRay. So from VMRay point of view, we only get basically a file being submitted, a URL being submitted, and analyze it. Then the Azure connector will ask a result of the analysis and will post it back to Defender.
Great. Okay, that looks like that's all the questions we have for today. If any other further questions pop up around the integration, please just follow up with the follow up email. Just go ahead and reply directly to that. Serge and I will be happy to answer any further questions there. Oh, we actually have one more pop up. What's the difference between the IR mailbox phishing configuration and the API integration with Defender for phishing?
Um, But I think I don't know if everybody know our IR mailbox. So IR mailbox is a solution that VMware has where you can just forward an email and it will be analyzed. So one difference is that the higher mailbox analyzes the full email, but also in Defender, what is important is to bring the information back into Defender. So if you just forward it to your mailbox, you get the analysis in VMRay. With the Defender connector, we try to bring the result of the analysis in Defender in two places, in the alert comments, so that the SOC analyst can quickly know what it is about, but also in the indicator. So our mailbox don't have this feedback mechanism back to Defender. So
Awesome. All right, I'll give it another 30 seconds here for questions. If we don't have any more questions at that point, I just want to thank everyone again for taking your time today to join the webinar. We hope you got a lot out of it, and everyone will be receiving recording slides and follow-up here shortly. Thank you again.
thanks a lot, everybody. And if you want to trial or test it, don't hesitate to contact us. We can help you to set up everything.
All right. One quick final one here, Serge. Does IR mailbox option do header analysis?
The header of the email. No, we don't do complex header analysis. We don't do it because we assume that we work behind other email security solution. So we don't try to be a full-blown email security solution. We try to analyze the file and the URL in details. So we don't do the email header analysis. Neither we do business email compromise analysis or those type of analysis.
All right, everyone. I think with that, we will wrap up. Again, any further questions, please feel free to reply directly to that follow-up email. Thanks so much for taking the time to join the day. We appreciate it, and have a great rest of your day. Bye, everyone.
Thanks a lot, everybody. Bye-bye.